Okay, welcome to another episode of the Mic of God. It's been so long, man. I'm so sorry that I just ghosted on you guys. There's a reason, there's a reason. Something happened to my face, my head actually, my hair to be more precise. So I was like, no, I can't record episodes like this. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know it's a kind of reason to not record, but I mean, so if you want to win, so you have to look good too. So yeah, I'm sorry for that. And today we're gonna be trying a new type of episode format on the Mic of God. And we want to, I brought a friend and want to dive deep into this my friend's life. Not deep actually, come like say with the gossip, you understand? But my name is Ebuka Mike. If you're just tuning in for the first time, we have 5 other episodes. That's if this is episode 6. We are very, as the spirit leads, sometimes we can just want to release it and something will happen. So we just say no more. So so anytime you see this because the long story short is we're here again. I know I'm starting weak today, but maybe it's the mood, how I want it to be. To my left is the usual suspect. I don't know.
Suspect.
So now he's wearing trad. I don't know what.
Usual suspect.
Is like the guy go naming ceremony?
It's like all these Uncle Taddy. All the way they dress fine, but they don't get money.
All these uncles wait for naming, and then they use their teeth.
Yeah, that's why they dig. They don't get money.
Now that one I be
very sporty.
And you open up
yeah. You guys came to enter me today.
No, I don't know, but I also think on the low, I think he's trying to impress our videographer. Our videographer is actually a lady. You guys, we've never actually shown her. Maybe one of these days we'll show her. Her and Goke are very okay.
Wow.
You understand? Maybe he's trying to let her know that.
Also, I know they frustrate the people.
Nah, no frustrate.
Maybe she no do surviving Mic of God.
I beg you. All these pastors say we know it. I beg you. So anyways, to my right, he's already introduced himself.
Yeah.
He's my friend from way back. If you've followed anything I've done, there's always traces of him around. Very few projects I've done without him. This is one of the first. No wonder we're seeing so much success, but I'm just joking. But I said hi. I have to bring him on, and this guy is an incredible, intelligent person, very humble soul, a great, good person, comedian too, editor. Try to remember other great things that he does. He's one of the foremost, fastest rising video editors in this country at the moment, and that's on facts.
On period.
If he tell you waiting in the bill now,
honestly,
okay, I won't say it here, but in case you have the mind, you like quality, you go for proper stuff, and you don't think about price. This is your man right here, Timi Adetayo.
Emphasis on you don't think about price.
Timi Adetayo is in the building.
Good to be here, man.
Yeah, good to be here. I've always tried to get him on the podcast, but he's very afraid of.
I don't run away from this mic.
But today is his day, because before we'll get him again, it will take a while.
True.
All right, what are we talking about today? Today is all guys. Idema had to keep her out because of the things Timi was going to share. They want her to look at Timi differently, So, girl talker. Whoa, that podcast was amazing. It was wonderful. Yeah. I went to a podcast to visit, by the way, but that's another day's talk.
That's our house pastor was invited by a different ministry,
the other parish. It was amazing. So, we're here today, and we're going to be discussing about, we're looking at, all of us are a product of where we're coming from. Our background sort of has some influence on how we turn out to be. Our shapes our perspective, our worldview, our sense of love, our sense of judgment, our sense of good and evil, and oftentimes because of where we're coming from, a lot of people don't have that context, all right, to where you're coming from. They don't know your background story. But what I want to discuss today is we're going to look at the how much that effect can have on you, and is it something that is within your purview? Is it something that you can control? Can you control the extent to which your background is going to shape your personality? And in cases where the story of your background is not, especially those things that are beyond circumstances you can control, like your place of birth, or the people you were born to, or where you were born, how you were born, or how you grew up. These are things that are beyond your control. We're going to shed some light on that. So hey Timi, how are you doing now? Welcome. And Goke, how are you? And you guys have, off the top, if you look at your life, would you say your background, if you were born in a separate way, or if you grew up in a separate way, maybe you would have seen life differently? And if you can pinpoint actual ways, actual things that in your background that have shaped your
perceptions. Timi, go ahead.
Now, just for the viewers, I think I'm the only one that has a dad that is with him here on this podcast. Just for the sake of, so I'm the only one. I think
everybody will say Olamolegba.
He just drop out like that.
No, but it's true.
You broke it, bro.
as based on everybody here.
Oh, now why they middle?
Yeah, maybe I'm the balance,
the neutral guy.
So I just want to know. Okay, let's come from that perspective.
Okay.
In Goke's case, what was the story?
Okay, what was my story?
Goke never expected. He thought it's you.
Oh, is this thing not just me?
Yeah, I set him up.
I don't need prep him. I don't need prep him. Say you be honest. You be open. I don't know. Say I dey prep myself too.
I'm at all.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, this is good. This is very good. So what happened? What was your question again? Sorry.
So I said, what's the story like?
Okay. So for me, I've, like you said, he's the only one who has a present father on the pod currently. So for me, my father passed when I was 6 years old. So I was 6. My older brother was 9. My younger sister was 1. So I think of the three of us, it's how I pity the most, because she never really got to know the guy. She never really, at least, I was 6. So I still have some, pictures.
Faint memories.
So, he passed when I was 6. And I think, how it affected me. I was too young to
be affected.
No, I was in a way, because, that means I grew up, but it didn't affect me so much, apart from what I just said. There was not just a father in the picture.
Okay, so in your own case, what was the separating factor was death, right?
Yeah.
So and you don't even know how he died.
I actually do know how.
Were you aware when he died? Were you conscious? Can you say there was a time in your life you knew, I don't have daddy again?
Yes.
You were that conscious?
Yes. I have my memory is very good, so I know exactly when I figured it out, when I found out that that is gone, and that was at his burial. It dawned on me. He had an accident, right? So he was in the hospital for a while. It was okay. They've discharged him. I remember everything clearly. They discharged him. He was back at home. Then one day, Daddy started coughing. Coughing. Da, da, da. Oh, bring Bo. He has something in his throat. Da da da. And then that's the last thing I remember. That Daddy was trying to cough something out of his throat. Then I don't know what happened after that. The next mental picture I have is, we're praying for Daddy's burial. Okay. We're printing banners. It's his burial. So that part where, this one I remember it very clearly, that part where you would take the shovel and so it was supposed to be my mom, my brother and myself to take the shovel, and everybody was crying. I was the only one that wasn't crying, because I wasn't, not hard guy vibes though. I didn't know.
At 6.
Yeah, at 6. Yeah. I didn't know. No. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know. I knew, but I didn't know.
You're not conscious, you're not
Yeah.
aware
I think
Yeah.
it hadn't done.
on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes even for people that are even way older, death can be like that. When even people not even as close as a dad, maybe a friend or a colleague, when you hear of their passing, there's first of all there's the sudden grief that comes. Oh, what shock,
Yeah.
you're still processing it. But even at that burial day, you just the person is being lowered, that's another level of realization.
Yeah.
This person is gone.
When this person is being lowered into that
The finality of it.
grave,
Yeah.
then funny enough, people still come around, because everybody is swarming, oh, it will be well, oh, take care of you, oh, don't worry, God is in control. So they're getting all the calls. Somehow you want to believe that maybe there's a way out. But after that burial, I think where it even kills the more, when I mean hurts the more, is when people go back home.
Yeah.
Then 2 months, 3 months, it's as though you're the only one that has to live with the
The pain, the
the
grief.
reality of the absence. Everybody has moved on with their lives. People are getting married.
The
People
calls
are
start to
you
review.
understand? Nobody is even. People are even asking less about.
Yeah.
Everybody has moved on, but somehow you're not moving on. But you were 6, so maybe you didn't go through this full cycle.
No, not as much, but that realization, that point of realization for me was when they opened his
Coffin.
coffin.
Whoa.
And then I saw Daddy. I was like, nah. So that was when it really
Hit you.
hit me. Then I remember one other time, we're at home just briefly after. Then we're doing night devotion. Then I just started crying. I was 6. I just started crying. And then mommy was like, what's going on? I pointed to Daddy's picture. So I'm crying because of Daddy. And then she didn't even know what to say. Night devotion ended abruptly that night because like there was no vibe to do night devotion again.
Again.
So I know share grace.
I'm not sure whether we share grace that
I
day.
can imagine.
Yeah. So that's my story.
Oh, okay. Timi,
Yeah.
so tell us. Over to you. And I just want to know, why I'm trying to set the base is, sometimes when we come here, we speak, a lot of times people feel we're not in a position to
To say these
to
things
say these
or
things,
speak on these matters.
what do we know?
What do you really
That kind of thing. So before
life
we
you don't
before we
see.
talk about that kind of thing, we just want to know, where we're coming from. So what in your own case?
So I'm coming from Lekki. I'm just kidding. All right. So in my own case,
Was he death?
no, it wasn't death.
Not be death.
No, be death, man.
Wow,
He's
to your death
very
do us
alive.
pass. Is
Very alive and well.
wait,
Alive and well and kicking.
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
So your father is alive
Very alive and well.
and well.
No, I'm not sure.
You don't know whether he's well, but he's alive.
He did.
But he just
So okay. So my own story is this. Let me say it this way. My papa be like Avatar.
anyway,
He vanished.
vanished.
Oh my.
100 years passed.
I've been looking for way to crack this joke. But anyway, that's by the way. So my own story is this. My parents separated when I was 3. All right. There was abuse in the mix. I don't want to go into too much
Wait,
detail.
he abuse from him or abuse
From him.
Wow.
All right, in the mix. So when I was 3, so I don't have the recollections I have of him are very faint because like I was 3 when they separated and went on to divorce. Like they were going through divorce proceedings and things till I was about 6. So that was it for me, man. He wasn't there growing up. You understand? So for me, it was the mental recollection for me when I was little it was Momsy that was there. All right. So it was just me and Momsy. That's the
Are you the only
recollection.
child?
Yeah.
So it's just both of you.
Yeah, and just 2 of us. Just the 2 of us. Just 2 of us, actually.
Amazing.
So yeah. So the only mental recollection I have from that time was, so we used to stay in Ogun State, all right? So Then we moved into to Lagos. All right. So I just that's the mental recollection I have, that we had to leave where we were staying before to another place. So that's like the earliest memory I have
of that time.
of that
Well,
time.
when can you say that it really dawned on you that Omo?
You know,
Because there's one thing to be divorced, okay?
Mhm.
There are many people that are divorced, but
Yeah.
the fathers still reach out for their kids,
Mhm.
But was that your own case?
no, that wasn't my case.
So he left.
So he left. So there have been, I would say, times where he would try to reach out, but he never really
Came through.
You understand?
So at what's the for how long have you not heard from him?
How long? I think the last time is years. Is years. It's almost like a decade now.
A decade.
Yeah, from him, like personally, through family, to reach out to talk or things. So yeah.
Wow. That's wow. You guys have tried.
Yeah.
But okay, let me advance the conversation, okay? Without, because I don't know what it is to grow up without. Yeah, there was a period in my life my dad was not around, but he was communicating, He was reaching out, There's a period of time, a couple of years, But I was young, all right, and I heard from him once in a while. I saw him once in a while, so I will not call it, what you guys have just explained. But what would you say was the how was your family dynamics like? Now that there's no father, there's no what was the dynamics internally and also on the outside, going through school? How was it like?
Okay. Internally, first of all, for me, it was that thing they call culture shock happened in my house. So my dad and my mom, my dad is my jovial side. I got from my dad. The things people have told me about my father when he was alive, like the pictures they've painted. Oh, very jovial, oh, very nice guy. Oh, yeah, that man, he's very people love him. So my mom, on the other hand, like she's a lovable person too, but she's firm, she's very strict. So, so at home, like everything just became very, pim. And then, you know how the friends you had, family friends you had from your father's side are no longer family friends. Like, not like they are no longer family friends, but your access point was through your dad.
And now
so now he's not around. So like there's no, it's weird because you can't, you are too young. I was too young to initiate some kind of conversations, to talk some kind of way. But even though they tried to, tried to keep up, but it wasn't like
there's
before.
no longer there because
Exactly.
their real friend in the family.
Exactly. So then also school wise, I remember then going back to school was I used to have terrible stage fright. Like I used to be very shy. Like my shyness was
Shy.
yeah, it was very shy. So then it became worse in school because like you don't have to act like everything is fine, but everybody knows. In fact, they made an announcement on assembly.
Whoa.
Primary school now, then they do stupid things. So they made an announcement on assembly that this let's give 1 minute silence to so person's father, their family going through a tough time during this period.
Wow.
We're in primary school. Like, what are you guys doing?
Are those kids, they are very
Yes,
very
now,
blunt. So is that going to heaven or
I had one that came to ask me, Salimon, I'll never forget his name.
Salimon, shout out to you.
Yeah, shout out to you, Salimon. Came to ask me, he was like, did you cry? Okay, go away, Joe.
What is that question meant to be?
So yeah, I remember a lot of all these things. I remember the details. So yeah, it's got affected in that way. Okay. So then growing up too, like now became a different kind of growing up. So because it was just mommy attending to things.
Yeah.
mommy had to cut down on a lot of things that we could have had, right? A lot of my friends had all this stuff that children used to have, all those games, all those consoles, all those stuff. We didn't have that because it was just mommy. So mommy doesn't have time for all that, or she can't really, not that she couldn't afford it, she could have, but she would rather spend on other things. She didn't understand. She did understand, but I don't know, she just wasn't. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah, she just wasn't into all this kind of things.
On your own ends, how was that like?
Okay, so you know me, I don't have what to compare it to. So for him, there's a before and after. For me,
this was the life you knew.
This was the life I knew. The only times where I knew like a different kind of life in terms of how the family is meant to be was so the good thing is my mom has 2 elder brothers. All right, so during the holiday time, I would go over to their place. So that was the time I figured out that it was growing up. Then I figured out that this is how this thing is meant to be. It's meant to be father, mother, and children. All right, so that was the only time that I could reconcile that, okay, this is how it is actually meant to be. Okay, so internally, what I would say is internally, how it changed the dynamics was, I'll say, number one, I had to grow up really fast. All right, I had to grow up really fast. And this was because of course, you're seeing one parent do, the job of 2, trying to do the job of 2, you understand, to the best of their ability. And me growing up, I was like, I quickly got that, okay, this is not how it's meant to be, and this person is just giving her best shot at this thing. So there were certain things that should have or could have been there that weren't there at certain times. I think Goke was mentioning things like games or things like that, that weren't there, but I just had to understand that, look, this person is just trying their best, basically. All right, so externally, in primary school too, one thing I would say is I remember not knowing how to answer the dad question. All right, it was something I had to ask my mom. That when people ask for my dad, what will I say? Because like I really didn't know. Because you know how kids are like, so daddy did.
My dad is a lawyer.
My dad is.
Timmy, what about you?
So
my dad is Avatar.
So
went to save the world.
So at that point in time, I remember Momsi saying that, like when people ask for my dad, I should just mention my uncle instead. You get, and a lot of times it will call for more questions. Your uncle is not your dad.
That TV guy, his family, they're weird.
Waiting concern you. You understand, So, but yeah, so that was there. So, but what I'll say again is, the fact that, like I said, I had to grow up
really fast,
because again, the dynamics is mother and son. All right, this is not mother and daughter. So essentially, I was like the man of the house.
Yeah.
So there are certain things that I had to take responsibility for. Just even psychologically. Like, are we safe? Just simple things like, let me check the house if it's locked. Usually, normally kids is their dads around that.
Do those things.
And you understand, around that time they'll do those things. Or Momsi, are we okay? I remember asking about things like rent and you understand those kind of questions as early as 6, 7, 8. You understand? So it made me grow up. Like
I want to zero in on this Timi's story because of the fact that there's no, and like this is just a new twist,
Yeah.
There's no, like you said, there's no template that you don't have a before and after. This is the life that you.
Yeah.
And imagine finding out as you grow that this is not how it's supposed to be. I want to find out, you said something about being the man of the house, yeah? And let's look at the picture here. Your mom has just gone through a terrible time with this
person,
your dad, and he's gone as far as leaving, and he's not reaching out as he should. Probably, from what you're telling me, maybe he wasn't even financially as supportive as he should. Maybe he was not as responsible. Now, that can take a toll on a woman. You know, she's going to, I don't want to use the word, I don't want to stretch it and say she might even start getting, there's frustration will set in, you know, depression will set in. You're trying, you know, it's just you and this kid, you know, so you don't even have a crowd that you want to hold together and cry. It's just you and this guy, and this guy is also now in some way serving as a visual reminder of the person, because obviously maybe he looks like him, you know. This guy is just
I look like him.
just looking like, you know, this guy is a reminder of, maybe I shouldn't have even had a kid with this guy. Maybe I would have been freer.
Yeah.
You know, all these kinds of thoughts will be going through. Obviously, there's the motherly love that will, you know,
also
cushion that stuff. But you're going to have instances where she's going to, like, feel, she will need reassurance. She will need comfort. She will need somebody. You know, women, so you need somebody that she can just snap at.
You know what I'll say about this thing I just said? I didn't know how mature I was, you know, in terms of emotionally and handling a woman's emotions till my earlier 20s, you understand, where I would meet maybe a lady for the first time and we'd talk, and you know, and she'd be like, "Oh, this guy, you sound like you're really old, though. Like, how old are you?" And then I'll ask, "How old do you think I am?" She'll say like 31, 32. You know? And I'll be like, "No, I'm 22. She says a lie." There's even one that went as far as saying I should show her my birth certificate. Like, she couldn't believe it. All right. So what it does is, so I'll say a few things. So the first thing I'll say is, in my own case, you know, I was and I am lucky in the sense that, you know, my mom had, you know, some form of support in her family, you know, her elder brothers, 2 of them.
That was a blessing.
Yeah, it was like a blessing. So like I had present father figures in my life. All right. The second thing I'll say is, you know, I think, I don't know whether it's God but I just had a subconscious understanding of what was going on, you know, of this is not the ideal situation. Like I said earlier, I just knew that this is not the ideal situation, and this person is just trying her best. She's giving her best as much as she can. I also knew that this person too is also going through emotional trauma at this point in time. She's still trying to recover herself, you understand? I don't know how I knew. That's why I said I don't know.
This is where God came in.
Yes, you know.
These are the divine things God did to... Yeah, you know, many times people don't see... Okay, we'll get there. But what I'm trying to establish is, what about, you know, you have cases in single parents raised families, you know, where it's something that humans do. Unconsciously, you're beginning to, you know, I mean, your own case was death, okay? And your mom, she was a tough person, so maybe she just even toughened up the more, you know, became tough love, you know?
Yeah, I think that was what happened.
Tough love, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so I'm saying, but you find out in his own case, where they start recruiting, I know men that do this. I know, I at the beginning, there was a time my parents' marriage was not even 100,000%. And I noticed that unconsciously, in their desire to vent their pain,
You start
they start recruiting you
Yeah.
to, because in the bid to say you're not seeing it from my perspective, they want you to see it from your perspective, and not only see it from your perspective, to stand where they stand, eventually live where they live, in the bitterness and in the hurt. So how were you able, I mean, did your mom ever, I'm not even asking whether she did, because I think she must have tried, unconsciously or consciously, she must have tried to shape your opinion about this person, that this person is not nice, this person is, see what this person did, see where this person left us. All right, can you say that, you know, all those things kind of shaped, because what is your viewpoint of your dad as at today, now that you're looking, this man you've not spoken to over 10 years, all right? Some people, is hate, is pain, is anger, is... So, but I've known you. I mean, we've had this conversation many times, and we've, you know, that's why you're here. You understand? Because you seem to have a very... So, what is your perspective to your dad as it is today? That's one. And number two is, how did you shield yourself, because there was a law that was set in motion. There's a way you were supposed to turn, or there's a way your perspective is supposed to be towards this person.
Yes.
How come you're not having that perspective? What is your shield?
Okay, so my perspective towards him now is one of, so what I would say is, I don't know if I've totally forgiven him, but I've come a very, very long way. When I see him or when I think of him, I think of him as, a human being, due to their circumstances and their own fallings, made mistakes, all right, that got them to where they are today. You understand? So there's no longer that form of animosity or anger or this thing towards him anymore. And I would say the reason why I'm this way is God, to be very honest with you. Is God. You understand? Because when I was younger, this thing you said about mom, like mom trying to pour out this thing, she did. You understand? Time to time. You can't blame her now.
Yeah, that's normal. It's humans.
You need to.
And you're the only one.
I mean, it's maybe like 3 or 4 now. Equal sharing. I just chest out. But what I would say was, then the question was, why is it like this? There was the question of why did it turn out this way, and there was also the fear of, hope I would not turn out this way.
Yeah, because you see, there are a lot of people that what they really hate is what they even become.
Yeah, do you get? So there was that fear of, hope I will not turn out this way too, because this is my dad we are talking about. You understand? I came from this person.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So, but what I'll say is, God has done and is doing like something impressive in my heart, my spirit, because I remember as far back as 2017, 18, when the feelings of animosity came, and the Holy Spirit said, you know what, guy, pray for this man. That was one of the first times. It's like, pray for him, start praying for him, wish him well. And as I started to do that, it was one of the most difficult things I've had to do, if not the most difficult thing I've had to do, because God is calling me to be the bigger person. This person has not reached out. I never heard from this guy, but Nami God still forgive him. Nami God still be the bigger person. And just praying for him, it brought me like a long way. Sometimes I wake up, remember, and pray for him, wish him well. I hope wherever you are, God is with you. Spirit is leading you, all is well with you, so God,
that's the answer.
God is the answer.
And people don't know that. I often get people ask, I want to hear what you guys think. Some people say, in our generation, there's this hyper demand for closure. When and I don't know how it became a thing so strong, every time we go through a hurt or we go through some kind of pain, whether self-inflicted, whether wickedness of men, whether weakness of men, there's always this need to want to get closure from men. You want to, I just want to know why. I want to look him in the eye and for him to tell me why he did what he did.
Why did you do this?
And I want to know, what do you think? Do you think closure is necessary? Do you think is a must have? Do you think if you go through a challenge, or maybe like in this your case, or let's imagine if your mother was, for your mother being that way, obviously there are going to be, I don't know, were there times when you were growing up when you were like, this woman,
many
this
times.
man is wicked?
Yeah. When I was much younger, yes, I thought she was mean, because everything I wanted to do, she wanted me not to do. Like, I don't understand what's going on. So yeah.
So at what point did you understand the actions?
When I started to think about the whole thing and put myself in her shoes. I think this was like when I became, in my 20s or so. When I started entering my 20s.
Wow.
Then I started to put do you understand? I now started to think about it that, wait, if that kind of thing happens to you, first of all, it will destabilize you in a whole lot of ways. Definitely. And my father was my father was not poor. Like, we're not living in penury. We're living.
Are they alright?
In fact, we had a lot of people living with us, like in our house. When he died, bust your head,
Passion.
my dear.
House of God.
When he died, within 3 days, everybody that was living with us,
Don't meow.
everybody left. So the
To
they
greener
are,
pastures.
I don't even know where they left. Everybody just left. All my uncles, all my cousins that were with us. No, not my cousins. Majorly my uncles were staying with us. My cousins just used to come and visit and all that.
They all left.
Everybody just went. Maybe my memory is foggy. Maybe it was longer than that. Maybe it was longer than 3 days. Maybe.
Well, you just notice the suddenness.
Everybody
of-
just left. So now the house suddenly became bigger, and it was weird. So I definitely thought she was going crazy.
Yeah,
at some point.
so if you imagine that now, look at the mother that has just lost her husband, and now she knows, because she's not a fool, so she knows that her kids.
And we are three. You're raising three kids. Like,
She would not, and I mean, he's not the only one that will have that. Imagine how she would have dealt with the elder one, the one that was
Yeah.
about to be a teenager.
yeah.
You know,
At 3 different stages.
do you understand? And she would know that these my kids hate my guts. You know? She would know, and she can't help it. Because okay, maybe she could have been, because it takes two. It's very reasonable why you have God did it that you need the father and the mother, because even whether or not they are not both. Maybe if the father is behaving motherly and the mother is behaving fatherly,
You shall need the two.
but you need the two, because where there's that sternness, there needs to be that care and love. That assurance. So it's a team. But now you have only one side of it, and so that can make you sort of deficient in certain things.
Yeah.
And I was asking a question about closure. I said, is it
Yes.
do you think, because I personally believe that this hyper demand for closure, I think is rooted in, not rooted, but I think it results in a postponement of your healing process. Somehow you can say closure helps, in the sense that
Helps you heal.
you know why they did what they did, and if they did it with their chest, they did it with their chest, so you if you are healing once.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then again, why wait? What about somebody like Timi now that who has not seen them in 10 years? Will he, why depend
Waiting
till
for
you get-
closure.
So what may I say about closure? First of all, dealing with that kind of pain, all right, is not easy. Yet it's not easy. So I understand the perspective of wanting to have closure, wanting to understand, why this person did what they did, or why this person wasn't there when they should have been there. You get, but what I would say is, closure is important, but is really not the main thing. All right, what you need to do when you find yourself in situations like that where you don't have the answer to these questions, is to just try and be comfortable. I think as a society we are not comfortable with not knowing why. We want to know why. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Try and be comfortable with not knowing why. Leave the whys. Just leave the whys. You get, and
Because what you really want to do is to heal. You don't actually want to know why.
you just want to heal, because
in your mind you think knowing why.
and answering those questions,
you
healing
heal,
them.
but it's not true.
No, and that healing, forgiveness is very important. To be honest, forgiveness, and what people don't realize, and what me have come to understand is, when we think of forgiveness, we think of it as something we are doing for the other person. Yes, I forgive you. Sin no more. But forgiveness is something that you do for yourself. All right, it's more for you than for the person, because this person they live in life.
Yeah.
You understand? This man, I don't know where they are. If they chill, where
The one
you understand?
Rotel, just
Yes,
the-
I mean, the reason say,
has
my
produced
God.
many other Timi Adetayos around the
Do
world.
you understand? But what forgiveness does is it starts that healing process. you just begin to care less and less and less, and it frees this person from your heart. What it even does again is because a lot of times we focus on these things, like in my own case now, single parent household. You understand? A lot of times we focus on, oh, why did this person leave? You understand? I won't forgive this person. Because I've had discussions with people like myself who are like, I don't know if I can forgive my dad in this life for waiting that man do. I can't forgive my mom for waiting. But what we don't realize is that in not forgiving these people, in not starting your own process of healing, you are affecting yourself, and you might even affect your own kids. You understand? So if you don't deal with that issue now, you think you'll be a present dad, but it's possible to be present and absent at the same time, because you have hurts, you have traumas that you've not dealt with. You understand? That won't allow you to be as emotionally free.
Yes, and cascade it to your kids.
Do you understand? So you won't be fully there for them if you don't deal with these things. So I don't think you need to know why.
And that's so profound.
Yeah.
Because even I'm talking about like death. Every time, God, why? God, why? And if we notice, most of the time, God is very silent.
Yeah.
When those questions are always being asked, because even if you were answered at that time, it wouldn't make any sense to you.
Or would it even do much?
You won't even accept it. If they told you the reason why this is happening, if you imagine a case like just look at Joseph in the Bible, and Joseph has just misfortune upon misfortune, sold by his brothers. God, why? God, why? God, why? God, why? And God now tells him that I want you to be king. He wouldn't accept it. He would say that's not God, because in that dungeon, in that Potiphar's house, in the dungeon, in the prison cell, it doesn't make any sense. Why so you ask another question, is this the only route?
True.
And sometimes you don't need to know that question why, because sometimes when we know why, we mess things up. We join into the process, we put our hand inside the soup, spoil what God is cooking. True. And another thing is about why, even when it's detrimental, like I said, there's a state of your heart that is required to a state of, when people are emotional, they make rash decisions. They can make permanent decisions based on temporary things because of how they feel emotionally. So somebody just left, and you don't know that series of what we must be conscious of is that God loves me. If we don't get schooled in that understanding that God loves me, and that because of God loves me, he's not going to allow anything to be that is truly detrimental to happen to me. Imagine Lazarus and his family, and I want to use that example, and they've come to Jesus and they've said, Lazarus is sick, come and heal him. And Jesus says, even gives them a word that this sickness is not unto death. So they have a word from God.
Yeah.
God told me.
God said.
Somebody said, oh, my mom, when she was ill, pastors came, they prophesied, they said this, she will not die but live. Jesus said it too. He said his guy is not going to die. And
he
died. Not just one day.
Well,
he died very well. You understand? In Jewish tradition, I'm not sure what about this, but I've heard that in Jewish tradition, they say it takes 3 days for the spirit to leave the body. This guy died 4. You understand?
Spirit on me out.
He had gone. He was totally dead. If not dead by what killed him, dead by even the embalmment.
Yeah.
You know what? He's just somebody's in the mortuary.
Even being in a tomb.
You understand what I'm saying?
For 4 days.
This guy was this dead, and Jesus comes. If that first day that Lazarus died, they called Jesus, Jesus said, it's so that you might believe. What kind of God is this?
Believe what?
Believe what? You get. But at the end of the day, there was something that happened in Bible to Jesus to walk in, and he saw a guy who was born blind. And Bible, if you actually look at it, some commentaries say he was born without eyes, like he had holes in his sockets, because that's why Jesus had to mold
The clay.
clay.
Yeah.
All right. Some commentaries say that because that's why it was so astonishing to the disciples that they asked, "Who sinned?" Because it's not like every normal blind guy. This guy was. Have you ever met people like that? Have you seen some videos of how people were born? And you wonder who committed sin.
Yeah.
Was it his father or his mother? And Jesus said, "No one committed sin." That this just happened. This was something happened in transit. You know, whether Satan intercepted, whether mistake of men, something happened, and this guy is like this. He says, but that the glory of God might manifested in him, I must walk the works of him that sent me. So in other words, yes, so this guy has come like this, but yet he's born for the glory of God. That means his life at the end of the day,
Like a testament.
will still turn out to the glory of God. Yeah, and that's what it was, you know. So I think a lot of times this is our craze. Well, I love what this guy said. Is a take home for me. I need to get comfortable in not knowing why.
Yeah.
Why did they do that to me? And whatever reason they did it to me, that's not what's important. What's important is that they did it to me. You understand what I'm saying? That what's important is what am I going to do next?
What am I
How
going to
will
do
I
about
respond?
it? How do I forge ahead? You understand?
That's a progressive way to
How do I
think.
forge
But you know,
ahead?
there's a whole business today on pain and depression and hurt. There's a whole business.
Yeah.
Psychologists are cashing out. TV show hosts are cashing out.
Podcasters
Honest Bunch is
are
cashing out. Ebuka Mike is cashing out. So there's a whole business model on pain. And so a lot of people are not interested in getting people out of pain. So we create words like, oh, have some empathy. Because we want to have people, and that's why I say empathy is good, but compassion is greater.
Yes.
You know, some people want us to have empathy, to feel what you feel.
Yeah.
Let's feel what, and sometimes some people want is really just pity. They just want to pity you.
Pity, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and feel
Compassion is more active. It's
you know,
more-
compassion wants to bring you out of that.
how do you live this?
You understand? But
Yeah.
a lot of people don't. And so when you say certain things to people, you tell them the truth. You know, even if you tell them the truth in love, they say, "Is this the time? Is this the place?" There will never be a time to hear the truth. You know what I'm saying? But the truth is the truth.
It's absolute. Yeah.
So I just think that is mind blowing that people, you need to know that there's a business on pain. You need to know that a lot of people are profiting, keeping you in pain,
Pain, of course.
keeping you in trauma. There are
Being
books are being
depressed.
written,
Yeah.
sessions, counseling sessions are being booked, cashing out upon cashing out. You need to decide that I'm not going to stay here for too long. And the healing is so important because I want to find out from you. Let's use this to begin to wind down.
Okay.
You know, growing up, for me, for example, you know, because of my upbringing, that's where my father was to me, all right? Because of that upbringing, yeah, and my mom was to me, you know, the two of them, the dynamics, the mix. As I grew up, I discovered certain things about my personality, you know, that, you know, that he had been born in my relationship with others. You know, because of, for example, I grew up, my mother was because of that period, my mother grew up seeing a strong woman. So my definition of womanhood is
Somebody
strength.
Strong.
Yeah.
Strong.
You know, so when I grew up and I met ladies that were weak or weaker vessels, I couldn't reconcile it. I couldn't understand why I would crack a joke about this guy and he would just say, laugh it off, his misfortune, and crack a joke about this lady's misfortune, and all of a sudden I'm a
no,
devil.
yeah.
I couldn't understand why, you know, and it brought me so many enemies, you know. I had so many fights. I couldn't just get it till today. I'm learning, it was something that within the last 8 years to consciously develop my relationship with ladies,
Yeah.
and to improve on it and to get better with it to understand that not everybody is my mom. You know, not everybody is my mom.
Yeah.
So I'm learning it and I'm beginning to get better with it consciously, and also because I had to resolve my inner disputes first, you know, by the Spirit of God, because you can't remove God from that healing process. You know, He's the only one that can bring you out. And through that, so I want to find out from you, you know, what would you say were things that you were, by virtue of how you grew, you became deficient?
Okay, so number one is, you know, one of the major things I saw was that, guy, I know Sabi asked for help. Man, it took me a long time because I grew up with someone who was just trying to make do. You understand? Just trying to do our best. You get. I knew early that no disturb this woman. You understand? Whatever comes, make do with it. It took me a long time. It took me a very long time asking people for help. Just to say, oh, I need this or I need help with this. Very self-sufficient, self-reliant from a young age. Another thing I'll say is one thing I know that I became dismissive avoidant. You understand? In the sense that will I call it a hard guy of, oh, if this person did, no alive, they know they.
So you never,
no
yeah, exactly. You're not putting your trust that this guy is gonna be around.
Yes.
Because if daddy could go, who are you?
Do you get? Yeah. So if you did know wala, if you know they know wala. But I now noticed that it was affecting my relationships in the sense that while I would try, I wasn't really showing up the best way I could for.
If you're in a relationship with a lady and you have that kind of attitude,
you will enter.
because you're not excited about her absence, her presence, or worried about her absence.
My bro, it's something I had to work on. I knew, I started to see that, look, bro, this thing is not that difficult. You just need help with this thing. You just ask. You get, so it's something I had to work on, of course, with the Holy Spirit, with God. Just realize, just even being that self-aware to know that, oh, these are some of the places where I have deficiencies. It took God, man. So also that part of being
true.
Also,
takes God to point that out. Hey, this is
also that part of being dismissive, avoidant, in the sense of I now had to consciously make sure that I show up for the people around me. You understand?
putting effort.
Yeah. So I think some of my friends, like you, Goke, a few of my friends, my family members around me can testify to that. That look, I try now because I know that this thing day, and if I leave I'm like this, it's not the best.
Yeah.
I now had to start consciously making sure that I show up for these people, and not just show up for them, also expect
them to show
that
up.
They show up for me.
Yeah.
Because the other part of it too is that you don't expect much from people. So you can be in relationships where this person is just living off you or taking whatever they want from you.
But you don't mind because
you don't really care. You can't even see that there's a problem with this, So I started to show up for people and also ensure that these people are also showing up for me.
You can demand
I can demand
favors. You can demand
favors. I can call in the favors of friendship or family.
And that's where life is enjoyed.
So yeah.
Okay, so it's been an amazing one. I'm thinking, look at you guys now. Despite all that has happened, see, you can conversate about it at this level. I mean, and is the transition of pain, to this is who I am. Then now, one of the things I observed was after I recovered, I healed from this kind of things that I noticed about my person because of my background. I was now able to find so many people that were just like me.
Yeah, that thing happens. That thing happens. Yeah, that thing happens.
My eyes is just
friends. A lot of
do you understand? So what if God
are similar?
What if God just designs it in such a, because he's the master planner, and God is good. And you know what it is to be truly good? To be truly good means, because a decision can be good today and so terrible tomorrow. There are people that, 2012, Jonathan said fuel subsidy must go. And people said never. They stormed, said it was a bad decision. Now every day we are saying, had it been we did it in 2012,
it would have been better.
It would have been better. So even the concept of the fact that God can be good, internally good, that means it's only God that has that wisdom to make a decision that will be good
for all time.
That at the end of the day, it's going to be good.
That's profound.
Because it's so deep, so profound. When you think about it like that, you just discover that, oh my God is good. Whatever happened to me, that sometimes even Satan brings this thing our way, like in your case, just to destroy your life,
Yeah.
destroy the trajectory of your life. It could have also happened in your case.
Yeah.
You know, he just removes one. Let's see what's going to happen now. But God, in his wisdom, in ways that we cannot explain, is the extraordinary strategist. You
yeah.
know, he look at him saying, in my subconscious, I just knew. What, that is God. It's not subconscious, it's God.
Yeah.
It's God's spirit that is prompting you on the inside.
You know the funny thing. Now, the funny thing that is happening now is that I have a number of people, and it's increasing, asking me, things like, how am I meant to be a man? You understand? Even people with dad and mom present, I have people
leaning on you
with questions like that on, how do I reconcile this defect that I have? Guys especially. Wow. You understand? So me we don't get.
You're not the one that is giving those that Paul said, poor yet making many rich, fatherless yet teaching many people. Anyways, oh my God, it's been an amazing one. I really love this episode. It was quite calm. I wish we had more time. I want to round off with a quote, you know, from Pastor Chris, where he was Pastor D that was telling us that he asked, she was young and she wanted to know what next, and he asked her a question. He said, what do you want? Do you want a life of convenience, or do you want a life of impact? He said, because the two don't go together. If you're suffering some kind of inconvenience at the moment, what if your life is actually designed for impact? What if, like he's saying, people have, through that thing, I mean, Ogoke was a father to many in I mean, I didn't see UTG at least.
Yeah.
And till today, he's still going back there. There are many of them that are leaning on him. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's that. What if you didn't grow up as fast as you had to?
Exactly.
You know, you must recognize and see the purpose in all the pain, because that's what makes you endure. Why are we cramming the 2 times table, 3 times table? Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to be a graduate. The cane, the flogging, the writing of long notes,
all things
standing in the sun is building, fashioning, is a training for a greater you. So on today's episode of the Mic of God, from my boys, if you want Timmy to come back another time, you could just comment that, please Timmy, come back. You know, he will come back. Like he said, he always has to show. So
see manipulation. Nice one.
All right, I had a big shout out to Timmy behind the camera. She's a video person. Timmy, you want to come and show yourself to the people? Says no, not now. That she didn't prepare. Okay, well, next time, because really pissed off for his.
No, we didn't. You did.
He did. He came late.
You know, I'm working on my feminine relationship. You know? All right, guys. Bye bye.